Florida Business Person of the Year. Tim started his first Florida business with only $13. That business grew to 4 offices and millions of dollars in sales. This morning he will share what it takes to achieve the entrepreneurial dream with his speech titled, The Dream.
Why in the world would anyone want to open a business? Is it freedom? Is it money? Or is it the power? All those things can be achieved through that, but are they the right path? And here's the reason I asked that question in the first place. 80% of new businesses will fail in the first 5 years. In the industry I was in, to this day, it's a 95% the first year that fail. Why would I want to enter that field? Well, I was the first one to do it, so there's no comparator. So what happens here? Why is there an 80% failure rate? Well, it's because they know the technical part of business. And this is consistent. The baker knows how to bake. The mechanic knows how to fix a car. The beauty shop, the gal in the beauty shop knows how to do your hair. But none of them know this things about the business part of the business. You got to know how to operate a business. There's systems involved. As a matter of fact, I remember one client as a business coach saying, Tim, how in the world did you get your business to operate right and you didn't even see your employees all day? I own a maid service, and I did. They're out in the field every day. And I said, well, let me ask you this. How do you train your employees? He said, well, I go through it. I talk them right through every single step of what they have to do. Well, that's great. Now, if you hire someone else for the same job, how do you train them? Well, the same way. Oh, word for word. Well, not word for word. So you have 3 training systems. Now they get this look on their face and say, what? What do you mean 3 training? You do. You have the one that you trained the first employee on. Then the second one is a little bit different, so you train them. And the third one is the way you really want it done. You got to systemize it. You got to manualize it. If it's video today, training videos, so that they know consistently. So when somebody moves up into another position in your company, because when you start out, you have all the jobs. You have every single job in that business. So you make up a system for each area. If it's marketing, how do you market? How does it work for you? Here's the manual. Here's how we do it. Follow this. So if you lose somebody, what? You bring another person into that job. It's that simple. So over the years, that's what we did. Now, I went to the point where when I first started cleaning business, it was construction cleaning. You go in a model home, right after it's built, you're ready to go inside, and you want to see it looking nice. So we go in and clean those. Now, me. It was every Friday, or Saturday, or Sunday, because I had a full-time job during the week. Until the point where I did 11 myself, then I started hiring people. We split it 50-50. It was that simple. But it got to the point where the gal I was working with, I was fed up. I just wasn't progressing at the rate I wanted, so I wanted to give up. So I'm down in Port Charlotte with a friend named Mary, and that's a fictitious name. And I told her, I said, yeah, I'm just thinking I'll just sell it to my partner. And she stopped in her tracks and looked up at me, she's really little, and she said, check me now, are you? That statement changed my life. Because I realized at that moment I wasn't afraid of failure. Failure, it's over, right? I was afraid of success, because now comes responsibility. Now comes developing those systems. All these things come into play, so you have more work, more stress, but you're going to make more money. But is it worth it? But I came back home and I built $1 million business because of that one statement from her. And I have a reminder of it. She's told a friend all these years later. So what does it take to build a business is systemization. Now, as a business coach, I constantly find out that people do not know how to systemize. The first thing I ask for is their P&L. Let me see your profit and loss statement. And most of the new ones say, what's that? Boy, we got a problem coming? You bet. And I see this thing on some of the groups. How do I find out about my number from the IRS? How do I find out about this? And all of them put down the same thing. Get a bookkeeper. They can tell you all of this stuff. And one of them yesterday said, well, I don't need that. I'm okay. And I'm thinking, oh boy, how long do you think she's going to last? She's not going to last because she's going to get in trouble with the IRS, the state, unemployment. There's so many things that can happen in there to make sure that your business thrives right. Now, when you systemize, you build a model. So the first thing I did was, when I got into the maid service itself, it started with model centers. Some of you are familiar with Beller Homes or Pulte? They're model homes. Well, I did their homes. They were good contracts. We systemized. I gave them a checklist of exactly what we were going to do each time when they're, and whoever the crew was, they signed that and left it each time. Nobody will do that to this day. Why not? I said, you leave it, one of my clients said, you leave that checklist? Yeah. They're going to look at it and say, yeah, you're going to learn what? You're going to learn what the mistakes are, right? And you make the corrections and make it smoother and smoother. So we did. Then when we went into homes, I actually went to the Philip Crosby Quality College. You're familiar with the Crosby Wellness Center here? Mm-hmm. That's Philip White. He was the Toastmaster, by the way. I didn't know that until 20 years after I knew him. He was in a club here in Orlando, and I don't know which one, but he's the one that put the Pershing missile, make it work. He's the one that made the rockets actually leave and stay up in the air back in the early 60s. So I went to that school and I learned how to achieve as close as possible to zero defects. When I sold Tidy Made, I'd have less than 1% complaint ratio in a business where I'm not seeing my employees all day. How do you do that? Well, that's a whole nother speech to explain how that all works. But we left the checklist with the customer signed by the person who did the room each time. And we thought, these are expensive because you made them up nice. So let's just leave them off, see what happens. I'll tell you what, that phone was ringing, where's my checklist? They're never looking at it, but they want their checklist. And there's two things to a checklist. One is the top half is what we're going to do. The bottom half is what we expect in return. And that's very important because guess what? It's not a contract, but it is an agreement, isn't it? And they see it every time, so very few problems. You don't want to explain the rest of it in phase 5, but then again, the clock says I'm out of time. Thank you.